All right, so I just gave you a list of, it says 30 random freshmen. If you want to do a study on the weight of freshmen at Jailman High School, you weighed 30 random freshmen on the same scale and recorded the following weights in pounds. So we're just going to go through and write down stuff about it. I've got to find all this information, so where do I go? Stat, count, one variable stats of whatever list you put it in. Should we list one? What is the mean? Wait, let's do it to 2 decimals.
129.17.
And what do I need there? What is the median? Is that still pounds?
Yeah, how do you see the median?
Scroll down, and it's third from the bottom. Now, I made up these numbers one time, and I got my numbers a little bit closer than I wanted to ask this question. The mean is definitely what's in the median, just visually. Like, literally. It's higher. Now, is it that much higher?
No.
So, really, because they're that close, it's probably what? So, let's say fairly symmetrical. Maybe slightly. If just because I'm trying to get the idea of if it is mean greater than median, it would be what?
If it was mean greater than median, it would be
Either right skewed or left skewed. I don't know which one.
If the mean gets pulled that way, because it gets pulled towards those two, so it would be what?
Right skewed.
So I picked terrible numbers to not get it farther away than that, but I just want you to get a picture of the comparison we're making there. In order to do IQR, I need what? So what is the Q1?
111.
What is the Q3?
145.
So my IQR is what? Pounds or not pounds?
Yes.
The range of middle 50% is within 34 pounds per 7. Standard deviation is what?
23.76.
Pounds or not pounds? So this is basically just our baseline data. We're going to do stuff with it to see what happens. Alright, so we realized that the scale was actually 2 pounds off. Each person that we weighed is actually 2 pounds less than the weight we actually recorded. So instead of going through and changing every single one of them, work smarter, not harder, we're going to go to L2, and we want to take our what?
L1.
And do what with it?
-2.
Minus 2. So in list 2, you're just taking list 1 minus 1, or minus 2. And then we want to go back and figure out what happened to our numbers.
Count.
Say that again.
What was the standard deviation for the last one?
So now it's in list 2, so I still go to stat, count one variable stat, but now I do it of list 2. Everybody with me there?
How do you make it like all the different ones? Because there's something for line.
Right, yeah. Okay, so that is like by default it does list 1, so we do parentheses, so do it, and then click the parentheses and then there. That should be right.
Yeah.
So my new mean is what?
127.17.
Units. My median,
Wait, am I getting the same thing?
answer to the third bullet be?
Pretty much the same.
The exact same thing as before, however you want to write that. If you want to do like an arrow or whatever, say same, that's fine. But close, I think that's what it said. Whichever answer you wrote for the first one, I would write it exactly word for word the same way. So in order to get IQR, what's my Q1?
109.
What's my Q3?
143.
Which gives me an IQR of
34 pounds.
and a standard deviation of
23.76 pounds.
So what did you notice happened?
Everything stayed the same except for the median.
Mean and median.
And
Oh, and
so I want you to start beside those two. Those changed. So this was adding and subtracting. Now on your right side is adding and subtracting the top one.
yes.
Yeah.
So you've got a number line down here, or that's what this is supposed to be, is a number line. I want you to draw some distribution. It could be like squigglies, I don't care. I take a distribution and just draw it there.
Should it be across the entire number line?
No.
Completely random.
So just draw some shape.
On the number line?
Like this is the number line and the graph goes over it.
Okay. But not over the entire number line.
Just something like this. Alright, so if I add or subtract, I need you to understand that all that's happening is I take this and slide it over. Now, so you can't draw it sliding over on your paper. So I want you to, like, that one's, if you did that one filled in, do the other one like dotted, so that you can see if you're drawing it in pencil. So then, like, I'm trying to, no matter if it overlaps or not, seemingly draw that same shape. Just slid over. So that if you look at your paper, you can remember this one is the one where I just take it and slide it. So this width from here to here, what happened to this width? Nothing. I just slid it over. What happened to the shape of it? Nothing. The only thing that changed was what?
Min and max.
So the location of where things were. So our center does what? If I'm adding by a constant A, our center what? Whichever way. So move to the right is fine. If I'm writing it as add / subtract, so it could be going left. My spread does what? My shape does what? Technically, I could write center as center / location, because what did you just say? What other things are going to also change? What did you say was going to change too? Min and max. So min and max are going to change too. Now, I'm not writing it as one of those, but surely I can figure out if I add something there, all of them, min and max are going to change. What about percentile? Because if 50% were below, and I moved them all, what percent are now below? 50%. So percentile stays the same. Alright, so now we're at I didn't copy this other one. Part 3. Just gonna call this out and not write it down. Let's say your friend in Europe wants the weight from your original data, so back from list 1, in kilograms. And 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds, but our initial data was in pounds. So we need to do what with our pounds?
Divided by 2.2.
Divided by 2.2. So you're in list 3, you're taking list 1 divided by 2.2. It says it on the paper there. Because we're going backwards.
Is it kg for kilograms?
So we should be able to go through this relatively quick, just calling it out and me not writing it. Our new mean is what?
58.72.
58.71 kg kilograms. Our median is what? 58.18 kilograms. So how did those relate to our initial mean and median? They've changed, and how did they change?
So they're close together. They're not as.
But relatively, like, yes, but like relatively, like that proportion of here versus the whole, like you're still seeing the same thing. How much smaller? By a factor of what? 2.2. Based on the mean and median, I want you to understand that there's still the fact that the mean is a little bit higher, but they're still pretty close. So again, it is basically the exact same answer.
You want to write the same exact answer?
Yeah, either write it again or like do an arrow or something.
Or just copy part 2 to part 3.
Just the line for the third part, yeah.
Okay.
The based on the mean and median part. For IQR, didn't write down Q1 and Q3 for some reason. What is my Q1
50.45.
and what is my Q3?
65.91.
For an IQR of
15.6.
and a standard deviation of
10.8.
10.8.
10.8, just for the 2 decimals, just do 0 kilograms. So if I gave you a list of data and you already had your calculator and I asked you questions about it, and I said, oh, we messed up, they should all be 2 less, do you really need to go through this whole process now? So like if I said the median was 122, but all the data is 2 pounds too high, my new median is what? 120. So that just subtract 2 from it. So you understand how it works. Alright, so on the right side, multiplying, dividing by a constant. Draw a shape again.
Same shape?
Whichever way you want to do it. And what happens this time is now your dilation point is 0 because that's how math works, but most of y'all won't think about that part. I am now taking it and doing this to it, which if our dilation point is 0, it's going to end up like doing that essentially. So you're going to draw.
Why does it spread out?
I'm multiplying it. So let me do it better.
So if you're dividing, it goes smaller, right?
Yeah. Yes. You can write it as the smaller way or the bigger way. That's why I didn't differentiate which one is. Let me, if I was getting picky about this part. So I say your dilation point is 0. So like I'm stretching it from there. And that's why it shifts like that lower. Yeah.
So, like, so to speak, the height doesn't change, just like the width, like the range?
It would, but yes, because the amount If that's frequency, your frequency is not going to change. Like how many were there is still going to be the same. Yes. So it's the idea of stretching it. So
dividing would just make it.
Dividing would just be opposite. So like this would be my initial and that would be my new one.
Okay.
And so do one of them dotted and one of them filled in just like you did before. Or if you, however it is so that you can tell which one's like. I need you to look at the picture and be like, oh, this one I slid. Oh, this one I stretched.
So when you stretch it, why does the left point move to the center and not just stay at the left and get stretched?
Because it's relative to 0. So like if I multiply 4 times 2, if my minimum was 4, my minimum is now 8. So it gets multiplied technically as a multiplication from a dilation point of 0. But y'all don't have to think that far about it. So writing the same type things that I had before, what happens to my center? If let's say I'm multiplying by B.
To the right?
Yeah. I'm being generic because I can multiply by like 1/4 or something and not have to say right. What happens to my spread? So same thing, multiply by B. Now we actually end up talking about a measure of spread that is different, but we're not there yet.
Would the shape stay the same?
So the fact that's why I said just draw some weird design. If I say curvy low on the bottom end and high on the top end, it's still going to have that same pattern. Right. So your shape is still going to be the same.
So on a test, would that be more like a judgment thing versus like a right or wrong?
For what?
Or on the shape?
No, so like if I would say the initial is right skewed, what's the new shape? Your answer would just be right skewed. You would just go with it, yeah. Because I'm doing it for like weird things, but like a skew is still gonna look skewed. Whereas I'm trying to draw like these crazy things just so you get the picture of what it does. On the left side, for part 2, we only starred median and mean and median, right? So on part 3, you're starring mean, median, IQR, and standard deviation. And then somewhere off to the side, put like star equals change. So like you're pointing out the ones that changed in each one of them.